quickly, walked down the stairs and I started crying like crazy. Went to the other office, grabbed my bag, took a rickshaw, and I was like, this is it. My self-respect matters to me more.
And what was your number one strategy when you were starting? What did you point at for the first step of starting your own business?
I would always recommend to every female entrepreneur out here. Most of us are freelancers and we think, okay, just a gig on email, it's more than enough. My suggestion would be always have a contract in place.
So how can they get in touch with you?
The best place is LinkedIn. So you could just search for Rhea Punjabi. That's RHEA. You could just search for Rhea Punjabi and you'll find me there.
Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Female Founders Community Podcast. And I have with me another fabulous female founder. And let me tell you about her a little bit through an example. So, a lot of times people ask me that how are you able to do things? How are you able to achieve things? And I answer that one of the things is communication. How you talk to people, how you talk to your team actually tells you that how would you do good in life. And that's exactly what Rhea has been doing with fabulous teams. She'll dwell more into what she does. But if I have to explain in one line, she's a communications trainer with the teams and helps them perform better. So welcome to the show, Rhea.
Hey Manmeet, hey everyone. Thank you so much, Manmeet, for giving me this opportunity to reach out to more people and talk to them.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. And I'm sure a lot of people listening to the video will learn something from your journey. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
So tell us something about yourself. What do you do? And introduce yourself.
Great. So to start with, I would like to introduce myself as somebody who helps you communicate better. And more so, this is in format of teams. So think of it like a workplace where there's miscommunication happening, there's low employee morale, people have lost their productivity, they don't have the decision-making capacity. And if you think of the root cause, you'll notice that typically the root cause is a communication problem. And that's where my specialization lies, helping teams to communicate better. Talking a bit about my background. So I don't want to talk to you too much about my work. I think that's something that by way of this podcast, we're going to as it is talk. But I would like to share something that got me into this field. And it's a story of humiliation. So I was I don't want to name the company because I respect, however they are, I respect them. So I was working with this education firm. Originally, I come from an e-commerce background. And I had this strong thing of getting into the education field. And I thought the best way to get into the education field in my own setup is first from the e-commerce industry, move to education firm. And then I could just kickstart my journey. So that was my thought process. I got a good job in this e-commerce, in this education firm, got a super good hike, unbelievable actually. So considering the work was very different, I got a 92% hike plus a variable pay on top. I was super excited. It was too good to be true actually. And I get into this company, typical family run business, well known in Mumbai, well known in Maharashtra actually. And because it's typically family run, there is no process, everything is unorganized, lack of communication, people don't respect their team members, they're getting humiliated and so on. And I was kind of disgusted, but I thought, hey, I've got a good pay hike. Let me just last here for a bit. Let me collect my savings. And as it is, I know I have to take that jump. But one day, I was also the victim of this humiliation and publicly. So I reported into the CEO of the company and he was formally supposed to be my boss. But because it's a family run business, typically the family members or the family friends tend to say, hey, we own this person. So one such day, a thing of this sort happened that one of the family friends humiliated me for listening to my boss. She wanted me to listen to her instructions. And that day I could not utter any word because it was public, though there were just around 7-8 people around, but it was pretty humiliating. All I did was I didn't say a word. I just quickly, walked down the stairs and I started crying like crazy. Went to the other office, grabbed my bag, took a rickshaw, and I was like, this is it. My self-respect matters to me more. Sobbing, I just picked up my mobile without any thought, wrote a resignation email to my boss. And I kept wondering, why is he not responding to me? That impatience, kind of came in. And next day in the afternoon, he directly calls me up and he says, what's wrong with you? Let's come and have a chat. So I said, I'm sorry. I don't want to go back to a workplace that does not respect me. I will share the reasons on the call itself. And I'm not going to serve any notice period. And for me, it's okay if I don't even get the pay. I'm absolutely okay with it. As it is, it's barely been 3 weeks. But thankfully, the CEO was understanding because he came from an industry. He had a great industry experience. And he understood. We ended the chapter there. And 1 week, it was crazy. All my friends were busy and I was here unemployed. I literally had that feeling, I'm unemployed. I'm an MBA. What am I doing? I left my campus placement and now I'm here. And after that, that one memory flashed in my head. I was just on my laptop doing some research, business ideas, how to start an education firm. One memory struck of me attending a personality development workshop when I was in the 3rd grade. And I was the youngest candidate there, youngest participant. And I said, why can't I do this for other people? I just got humiliated. I understand the meaning of self-respect. I understand how the others feel. And yes, that's how the journey began. Just started taking free workshops, got certified. And here I am 8 years after this episode.
First of all, I have to take a breath and thank you for sharing that story on a public platform with everyone. I've known you for a while now, but I did not know the story. So I'm taking my own time to adjust to this. And while you were sharing your story, the only thing that kept recalling in my mind was your mess becomes your message. Your mess becomes your message. So once you've walked on that path, you exactly know that what the other person is looking for. What is that would be troubling them? You know your ideal person that you can help the best is because we are them. And that's how I'm sure you have amazing success stories that we'll talk about in a short while. And that has helped you. Your own path has now become, your strength rather than the weakness. It has become your strength now to help other people.
Absolutely. And thanks. Yes. That's something I believe in. Your mess becomes your message. Thanks for putting it back.
Yes. So tell me, when did you start your practice or your agency by yourself, and when did you become a business owner, or as we call it, entrepreneur?
I started in August of 2016. That was the phase where I was getting certified to become a trainer, as well as I started taking workshops because I had to build my portfolio. So yeah, it's been more than 8 years now.
Okay. And what was your number one strategy when you were starting? What did you point at for the first step of starting your own business?
So the first step was pretty messy. Again, I had no clarity I knew I needed to do something with helping people become more confident, but it did not come immediately. There was a lot of trial and error that went in. I started by taking free workshops for school students who were, going to appear for board exams, for prelims and so on. And slowly, I started experimenting with other crowds. I started taking summer camps as well for a very low price, just to test the market. I started calling people home and teaching them dining etiquette, confidence, and so on. In between, I also opened an office to take one-on-one consultations. So I dabbled around a lot. And finally, I realized that I like to deal with a mature audience. Not saying that I don't like training kids, but if you ask me, my number one audience at this point is somebody who knows that they want to learn, they're willing to learn, and they're just there to kind of immerse in the experience of training and coaching them.
Absolutely. When you started out and now, if you have to do a little comparison in your struggles, what could the struggles be? What were the kind of struggles back then when you started, and how have they shaped up? Because struggles are always going to be there. I will not say that they've gone away. I'm sure there are different struggles at different points in time. So how do you see it at the point when you started and at your stage right now?
I think there's a drastic difference. If you look at me 2015, 2016 versus now, you'll see a drastic change. And the first change that you'll see is self-doubt. 2015, 2016 was the phase when there was crazy self-doubt. I knew I wanted to get into a world where I could have my own setup, but there was a lot of self-doubt. There were these mental barriers that my friends are earning better than me. We've done an MBA together. My package was just at the level at which they were. And now suddenly I'm at almost a zero right now, right? So money was definitely one thing. There was a lot of self-doubt. And today, if you look at me, for me, Manmeet, the entire trajectory is very different. I don't look at my core currency being revenue any longer. For me, my core currency is my voice. I should be able to go and voice out whenever I want. And apart from voice, the other currencies that not necessarily in the order, but what really matter is time. So yes, there could be time for myself, but for me, I through personal experiences, again, looking at friends, looking at my own extended families, one thing I realized that yes, you can hustle a lot, and I truly respect people who hustle a lot. But at the end of the day, we all are going to be a part of the same dust. So ask yourself, are you okay letting go of your family time, letting go of those important events in your family, just so that you can make enough money, which again is going to not be with you after a few decades, right? So yes, the thinking has changed a lot over these 7-8 years for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, the way you said that over the time it has drastically changed, and now you think it from the point that, we are all going to be the same dust and the priorities have changed. And I'm sure when people are listening to this, they should take it in a positive light, thinking that it takes one's own experience and journey to move from that hustle, come to a point where, you've kind of had that first mark of making it to a point, and then you're moving towards more maturity in life. And I'm sure this comes with more experience and more maturity, and that's one thing that I'm also looking at this point in my career now.
Absolutely. So if 5, 7, 8 years back you would have asked me, Rhea, are you okay not being able to are you okay if I just make you work 10 days of the month? And I would say, are you crazy? But today, if you ask me, I would say, yes, that is my dream. I wouldn't like to call it a job, but I would say that's my dream life, where I just work 10 days of the month. I put in my heart and soul. But if in those 10 days also, if there is some event in my life, in my family's life, I should be available. That is the dream life.
Yeah.
Right? Have I been able to reach there? No. But yes, I aspire to be there. If you ask me currently, for me, I make it a point that 5 to 6 hours of the day I'm free. And in that free time, even if I'm bored, I embrace boredom, because boredom helps me to experiment more. It helps me to learn more. It helps me to spend those tiny occasions with my family. It could be, for some people, it will be okay to miss your siblings, probably, let's say a graduation, post-graduation. But for me, I'll mark it in my calendar, and come what may, I'll reschedule all my sessions so that I can make it on that day. So it's that important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the way you said that, I embrace the boredom. I love that. Absolutely. And I'd love to reach to the point where, I would love to have that 5-6 hour schedule in a day where I'm actually thinking about more things. I have that creative space in my head, because you're working long hours. You don't have that creative space at all. What new will you do when so there's this term that I almost talk about everywhere, like working in the business and on the business. So a lot of times we keep working in the business and there's no room of thought for working on the business. So I absolutely love your idea. But I'd like to take you a step back and, take you to the point where you mentioned that you did have, your own chances of struggle back then. And I would want to know that how did you cope up with the Rhea 8 years ago? Because, that point when you have that rush that I'm not able to make it, I don't have the finances in hand, and having that graduation, I'm sure you would have done something which led you to a better space. So people who are in that stage right now, any suggestions for them?
So I really believe in the power of experiences, Manmeet. For me, each time I got that doubt, those memories would just rewind when I was on my job. Yes, one was a humiliation episode. And I've had such episodes even in the past, not just with this firm. Way prior to this, I was working in another firm where I was reporting into 3 bosses, and all 3 very different in their thinking. And I had to please all 3 of them. If I would take approval from one, the other would get upset, and so on, right? And I've had bad experiences there. where I've been humiliated by another boss as well in my previous job when I was working in an e-commerce firm. And those images kept coming to me, that do I really want to go back to that phase where there is politics happening, where my work is appreciated but not enough, because they are blinded by politics, they're blinded by egos and so on, right? And I would also like to share another story which is very close to my heart. And this is close to my heart for two reasons, because it's there with me till today, which makes me believe in myself. And if I can't believe in myself, in something above me for sure. And this story actually helped me in some sort of a blessing. I would like to share it. So when I was in this job around 2014, I was in this really frustrated phase because I thought after MBA life will be very sorted. That's how we typically function, right? 10th के बाद sort होगी, 12th के बाद sort होगी, BCom के बाद sort होगी, MBA के बाद तो sort होनी ही होनी है, right? So I thought that. I got into an online firm, like an e-grocer firm, and it was okay. It was nothing great, but I was happy to work in a startup because I always appreciate learning from different departments. And I was in this frustrated phase, and I took a trip to Sikkim with my other friends, and one of the friends was my colleague from this firm. So we were on this trip, and one day we were just we took a very beautiful trek, around a 5-hour trek or so. And somehow, though there was a lot of beauty around me, I did a forest trek, everything, we landed to this monastery out of nowhere. Okay, after a 5-hour trek, there was this empty road, nothing. We walked a bit around, maybe a 5-7 minutes or so, and we landed in this monastery. Now, two of my friends were busy outside clicking photographs. I went to this monastery, and those thoughts kept running in my head about my work. And this colleague of mine, he walked in, and we met this head monk over there. And he was a very cool, modern monk. So he was just talking about politics, he was talking about Mumbai climate and so on. And he asked me, what's up with you? He just, in a very simple way, he asked me, what happened to you? So I said, no, nothing. So he's saying something is bothering you. So very briefly, I told him just 2 lines or so that I'm not really happy with my work. I'm not getting the direction. And he said, it's okay. If you don't have faith in yourself, at least have faith in something above you. So this was one. And after that, my colleague got into a very jovial mood. So he went and just said, kya karu, manti nahi hai ye. I'm trying to, kind of get her to listen to me generally also. So he felt that we were husband and wife actually. So he said, no, I'm trying to woo her, though nothing of that sort. He was just joking around. And the monk blessed us. And 1.5 years down the line, we got engaged. And today he's my husband. So such experiences in my life, kind of keep reminding me that, hey, even if it's a bad day today, think back. Those bad experiences, do you want them back? Hell no. Those good experiences, do you remember? Yes, they become my motivation then.
I think I would like to sum it up with one word, and that would be that always go back to your why. Like, why is the word? If you want to do it, then why? What was your good experience? And if you don't want to do it, how to, tell your mind that this is not for you, then look at your bad experiences. So what's the why? Keep looking at that, and then you would be able to cope up with the bad times and the good times.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. I love your stories, by the way. I need to have more of them. I need to do more podcasts with you to have more of these stories.
Thank you so much.
So tell us something about, one of your best experiences with one of your clients about team communication that you might have done and you still remember them.
Oh, there have been many, if you think of it. One I would like to share, which is not really communication related, but one of the segments during the communication training was on stress management. And this was the first time I thought, let me do something different. I don't want to give gyan on stress, and I don't want to do the typical stress management activities. I just want the participants to just be. So for one of the trainings, I just played some nice soothing music, something that I just started listening to in that phase. And I gave them these mandala sheets, okay? And I told them to just color it. You have 15 minutes time, forget about everything that's happening in your life, color it. Kid you not, that activity went on for more than an hour. And the HR, she took me out, we're sipping chai outside. She's saying, let them be. It's okay. I just want to see how long they can go on. right? And that energized them so much that the training, suppose that we had a change management session the next day, but these people got so relieved from the stresses that were happening. The organization was undergoing restructuring, so they were undergoing a lot of stress. Next day, we had a change management session where we were supposed to talk all negative things. We were supposed to talk everything about how the restructuring is affecting them. But surprisingly, because people had, kind of let go of everything that was bothering them the day prior, the change management activity, which was supposed to again end at a particular time, went 2 hours beyond schedule. So I think when your participants themselves come and tell you that they don't even tell you, they just by way of their actions showing it to you that we're really loving the way this session is going on, that in itself is pretty rewarding. And that communicates to me their love for the session.
Absolutely, absolutely. And your audience tells you what they want and what they don't. So listen to your audience, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And since, we have been talking about the good and bad since the starting of the conversation, I would also like you to share, if you're comfortable, one of the stories of, working with clients where you had maybe an unpleasant experience, where you didn't like that particular relationship with the client, because I'm sure we have a set of good clients and bad clients.
There have been many, Manmeet, where, in 8 years, it's impossible that you're going to be blessed with all the good ones. But with the bad ones, one thing you learn the power of your voice, right? You realize you have power. And when I say power, I mean it in a good way, that you can stand up for yourself. So there have been clients like this, and I wouldn't want to kind of again share that instance, but I would definitely like to tell you what I did. So there was a demanding client and there was a project that was supposed to be done. And as per the contract, I did the project, and the client comes back to me saying, this is not what we meant. So I went back to the contract. I showed them that this is what we've discussed. She said, no, but the CEO doesn't want it this way. So very kindly, I told her, hey, I'm a professional, so I would like it if you could respect my time because it's as per the scope. But she didn't take it quite well. Try to get into an argument, but see, for me, it was impossible to do the work again. So I just politely said, I'll do a little bit extra, but I can't do the entire project again. I'm so sorry. While the relationship definitely matters, but we also have to understand that this was a part of the contracting. So for me, it has come across, this has happened many times, but thankfully the contracting always saves. So I would always recommend to every female entrepreneur out here, most of us are freelancers and we think, okay, just a gig on email, it's more than enough. My suggestion would be always have a contract in place, discuss it out, put every little word on that contract so that you always have this as a supporting, as a support for you whenever a client, kind of tries to exploit or extract more than they should be.
Yeah, absolutely. Having everything in black and white always helps because that acts as a proof that what was discussed. And while we are on the discussion of clients and good clients and bad clients and experiences, I think one of the key questions I'm sure people would have is that how to get clients. Because when you build a business, when you think of an offer, when you think of supplying your services or your knowledge, the first question is, okay, where do I go? Who do I give it to? So currently, what is your lead generation strategy? What do you use to get new clients?
So I would like to share currently a little later. I'll tell you how I started off because I still go by that strategy to do first 5 projects free of cost in order to build your portfolio. And then, of course, you could go ahead and, you could try these strategies as well with the mindset that my first 5 clients need to be free of cost, right? So you could, I think we all know in today's age, LinkedIn is extremely important. But depending on what kind of niche you are in, you could choose the platform. Probably you're into graphic designing. So yes, LinkedIn is one platform, but you could also reach out to people on Instagram who actually need graphic designers for Instagram, right? So you could... first of all, provide a lot of value on whichever platform you're going to be in, be it LinkedIn, be it Instagram. Personally, LinkedIn is my favorite. So I'm very active on LinkedIn. Instagram, not so much. And I have my reasons for it because my audience is on LinkedIn. So identify one platform first. give value over there to prove that you're really good at your work, you understand the pain points of your prospects, your customers, and then start kind of collaborating with them on podcasts. You could go ahead and just offer them a 45 minutes complimentary session. In my case, I do 45 minutes complimentary sessions. In your case, if you are kind of getting into some sort of design, or you can provide something which won't take a lot of effort, but it'll help them to understand your work ethics, it'll help them to understand your thinking pattern, that should be good enough. So offer to provide some samples, offer to do some tiny bit of the work for free, and that piece of work should be such that they want to come to you for the next piece, right? Because only you have that idea, right? So they have to continue with you. So LinkedIn is one. The next, which I've started since the last few months, and earlier I used to do it manually, but now I'm doing it the automated way, which is cold emailing. Prior to this, for me, earlier, I don't suggest it now, but earlier I used to do a lot of low ticket sessions, and how I would get this is through vendors. So in the training industry, we have like you have recruitment agency, we have training agencies that get you the big clients, and of course they take a chunk of the commission and they get you to do the training. I wouldn't recommend this, because then what will happen is you'll be stuck in that cycle, because they give you a lot of volume days. They'll give you 15 days of the month, 20 days of the month, and then you don't have any energy left to find the clients who would like to pay you for your worth. So my suggestion would be, stay clear of these vendor sort of engagements. Instead, try to find your own clients where you have a direct relationship. It might take 6 months time, it might take 4 months time or 3 months time, but it's worth the effort. So if I have to just kind of summarize, I would say pick one platform, go ahead, provide content, provide great value, start outreaching by way of that platform, by way of cold emails. And apart from this, Facebook groups have helped me a lot in the past. I no longer do them, but pick the right Facebook group where your audience is, and again, offer that free bit of service over there. And that's how actually I got my first few clients. So you could do that as well.
Absolutely. I completely resonate with the free service as well. That's somewhere I began as well. But now that I have to give an example right now, so this is, a couple of days back, one of the persons reached out to me on LinkedIn, and I agree with you. The recent love for LinkedIn has developed, and I see the potential of the platform. So one of the persons reached out to me on LinkedIn, and he said that, hey, I've written 2 posts for you, and here is the document. I've repurposed the post that you've written, and I love your content. I follow your content. I'd love to write for you, and I'll write 14 posts for free of cost in exchange of a testimonial. So I would love to do that. So of course I said yes. This was like a no-brainer offer, is because the person is willing to write 14 posts, and then what I have to do is share my thoughts and feedback and testimonial, which I'd love to do. Now, if this person moves ahead, there could be 2 things like you mentioned. One, if I absolutely love their content and it gives me more reach on my profile, I would definitely want to go ahead and look for a monthly retainer with them. That is a byproduct of it. And second, this person is going to get a testimonial even if we don't go ahead. So if they go forward and they want to pitch somebody for their paid services, they can always show a case study. Okay, this and this person recommended me. So in either case, it's a win-win. So I've experienced it on the kind of vendor perspective, and I see it was a no-brainer for me. I absolutely said yes. I didn't even think about it. So it definitely works.
Beautiful. I think I really liked the proactiveness that this person showed. He first repurposed 2 of the pieces for you already without even you asking, and then automatically you are going to say yes to the other 14. And yes, I think it makes sense. That's a beautiful strategy. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you. A similar experience happened with me. So there's this one of the clients that we are running ads for, Facebook ads. So this girl reached out to the client's inbox and she picked up a copy of the ad. She repurposed the ad copy, again the same format. She sent a Google document and she said that, okay, this is the copy I've repurposed, and I think this is how you can do it. If you repurpose the copy, it will be better. So we as an agency are of course, running for it, and we could see that another person is pitching. But at the same time, she was a copywriter. She was changing the copy and sending it to the client, which is a very good thing. She's actually, targeting, and what she's done is she's changed the copy already. So now the client, if we were on the perspective where we wanted an agency, or if the client wanted an agency, they could have immediately said yes to at least the copy she sent. And then from there, it could be a foot in the door and the other discussions could happen. But doing the work already, a very small piece of it, which doesn't cost you much money and time, but yes, the person will open or respond to your message than 100 other messages with, see, do you need a website? Do you need a logo? Please contact it. Those sleazy messages.
Absolutely. So, okay. So, since the last 3 months, there's this person who just says hi to me on LinkedIn. Hi, 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 hi. And I'm not responding to any. So today he changed his strategy. He said, hey, that caught my attention. But obviously, if you're not going to tell what are you connecting for, and of course, not being secret as well, right? You're not going to get any response. So it's important to first figure out the right person whom you need to target and have a targeted message very specific for them.
Right. And while we have been on the topic of LinkedIn, I do know that, you have a good following, which is close to, I think, 28,000-30,000 followers on LinkedIn, or maybe more. I would love to ask that, how did you achieve that number? What was your strategy to achieve that particular number?
So I'm at 21 now, yes, but aiming for 30 in the next few months. Earlier, I wasn't very active on LinkedIn, and with the kind of trainings that I was doing, honestly, I had no bandwidth. So I did take help from somebody, and I would like to share the strategy that we applied. Now I have got access back to my LinkedIn account. So earlier, I had an agency that was helping me, and how we worked out was we were posting every day. And we were testing with a lot of audiences. So there was a phase when we were sending connection requests only to founders. There was a phase when we were sending it only to program managers. So we were testing different sorts of audiences. That was one. Second, with the content as well, we tested a lot. First, we tried only text posts. We tried text plus images. So we just kept changing the formats, and there was a lot of consistency. We were posting around 25 days of the month. So I think it's not even a secret. We all know it. The answer is just testing and consistency. That's about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So staying in the game is more important than, actually winning the game. Staying in the game makes you win.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. I think it has been a lovely conversation so far, but I would love to know that anybody, and I ask this question to every person, anybody who's listening to this conversation and would want to, get started with business, wants to get started with entrepreneurship, what is the number one step they should take?
I think I want to go back from where we started this conversation, right? The number one step you need to take is faith. And when I say faith, I also thought that I have faith, but there were series of self-doubt. There were phases of self-doubt that are going to come. So you need you need a cushion, you need a support that will make you want to go back to faith. So my suggestion would be entrepreneurship as it is going to be a very lonely journey. You need to have a support system. It could be your best friend, it could be your spouse, it could be your own spirituality, whatever it is. Whenever you have these phases of self-doubt, and trust me, there are going to be many of them. There are going to be a lot of struggles. You're going to be rejected multiple times. And that's a good thing, because rejection is a part of the process. Struggle is a part of the process. Always have that support system in place before you even think of starting your entrepreneurship journey.
Absolutely. And, before we wrap up this podcast, there's this one burning question that I intend to ask each of my female founders, is that, we have a lot of trouble juggling between work and business. And especially, as Indian women, especially, I would say, we have this inculcated in us of taking the responsibility of the house somehow. It's like a feeling, even if no one expects from us, it's like built in within. So the question, I would sum it up, is that how do you manage, or what are your suggestions for all the female founders to create like a balance, if at all there is, between business and home?
So I would first like to say, yes, you can create the balance. Next, I would say, as I told you, my core currency is very different. For me, my core currency is my voice. It's my freedom, the flexibility, right? The freedom to spend time with whomever I want, whenever I want. So you need to decide what is your core currency. Okay. Once you have understood your core currency, ask yourself, is this realistic? Will I be able to balance my work and my life with this core currency? If it's not, you need to decide what's more important for you. If work life is more important, you need to definitely look at a different currency in place, right? And another thing, which I know you guys are not going to like, I think even Manmeet might not like it, but social media is a big pain. Okay, use it to get your leads, to get your clients, but don't let it rule you. Don't let it rule your mind. Don't be a victim of the stories that you see on social media, right? We tend to look at them with rose-tinted glasses, and this is reality. So my suggestion would be, stay clear of anything that makes you doubt yourself. Work on your self-doubts, but don't get exposed to things that will increase your self-doubt. Remember, when you are on your deathbed, what would you care most about, right? Whatever that is, work towards that.
Absolutely. And I absolutely love that. I think I'm on the same line. Even though I run a marketing agency, even though I deal with social media a lot, if you open my Instagram today, there's a feature that tells you how much time you spend. There's hardly going to be half an hour in the entire day that I spend on Instagram, or for that matter, YouTube Shorts as well. Because I absolutely agree, because in the starting of my career, that's what happened with me. I was drowning in the fact that, okay, I'm not able to achieve it. People are achieving it overnight and getting viral, and I don't know what. And I was like, okay, why am I not able to do it? And I had to come past the fact that, okay, life is not about followers, likes, views. And like you said very nicely throughout the podcast, what is the core currency? What do you want to focus on? So I'm absolutely on the same lines. Use social media for a purpose. Come back and don't binge watch it. Don't use it for entertainment. So I absolutely like what you said.
Thank you so much.
This has been a lovely conversation. Thank you so much for your time. But definitely, I keep saying last question, but then question keeps coming up. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, they want to understand about you more, they want to understand about your work. So how can they get in touch with you?
The best place is LinkedIn. So you could just search for Rhea Punjabi. That's RHEA. You could just search for Rhea Punjabi and you'll find me there.
Yeah, I'll also put the LinkedIn link in the description. So you can grab the link, go say hi, and tell her that you saw her on the podcast.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Rhea. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.